Hello, people of the internet, it's Amanda, and if you're new here on my channel, I usually talk about Japanese movies, dramas, entertainment. Sometimes I tap into other Asian pop culture topics as well, but lately, like if you check out my channel, I've just been yapping about number I for the past couple of videos, and to be honest, like that isn't a coincidence at all. Like I am trying to squeeze in a couple of drama reviews here and there. I actually plan on doing so before this one dropped. But the dramas that I've been watching, they still haven't wrapped up. I usually do those reviews after the series is over. And I thought they would be over before this new song or the new album drops, but that's just not how it is. So we're just doing this. But I've been a fan of Number I for at least Shoki Shinjin for at least 7 years now, ongoing 8 years now. And I just absolutely love the music that they've been doing for Number I. You can check out my entire playlist of all their releases so far and other things that I've done ever since they formed Number I. But yeah, and today we're going to be talking about their new song slash music video, Numbers Your Zone, which is a new digital single that they released in line with their upcoming second album, which I'm super excited about. But if you're here to hang, again, this is not going to be a first impressions review or reaction. I usually kind of like mull over their music videos before I film these videos. And it's because, again, it's not like I'm a first time reactor to their content. I've been in ILIS for so long, and so I watch the videos first, do some analyzing, and then film these. And yeah, so if you're into that entire conversation, then please keep on watching. So before we start, real quick, this opening sequence, or like the warning in this video, which they usually do in their past videos as well, I find this one particularly funny because of the line, extraordinary content that may be disturbing to some individuals. Viewer discretion is advised. To me, that is so funny in a sense that Number I's music, ever since they re-debuted as a new group, they've it's always been described as, you know, it's so crazy, or it's not something that is, you know, everybody's cup of tea, because they've always been experimenting. Some of their lead tracks, or at least most of their lead tracks, have very jarring, like you can't confine it in just one particular genre. And it's so different from the type of music that they've been doing, you know, in their previous group. And so it's not something that has resonated well with a lot of people, and even with existing fans. It's always kind of like this mixed reaction to their music. And I love how self-aware they are, that they have that effect on people. Personally, for me, their current genre just fits the style of music that I've always loved and listened to. But I understand how it can be like different for other people, and not just different, but they find it, you know, not something within the space of what I want to listen to, but it's always kind of like different, experimental, and that's become Number I's signature music. And so I just find this intro like really interesting and amusing. But yeah, this intro right here, very like 80s 90s type of thing, something that I grew up with. They're 90s kids as well, so understandable when it comes to references.
Wow.
Let's talk about that intro. That very jazzy intro. So good. There's just something about it that I'm obsessed with. Again, I love it whenever they play with different genres. And this one, again, with the mix of that very jazzy, bluesy intro mixed with the actual kind of like hip-hop nature, pop hip-hop nature of the song. Love that. I love this part right here, but she's just so cute in this part right here. And I love that again, there's just something about the mood of the video that it's gonna be, that's gonna be fun, but the message, the overall message of it has always had this kind of like hopeful positivity to it, very kind of like motivating, uplifting, which is so contrasting to the kind of like vibe or sound of the song. Like if you just listen to it, there's a sense of aggression in terms of, again, Number I's music, but lyrically, it's always been something that is kind of like inspiring and motivating, and it's about their own journey as artists as well, which I think is just really good in terms of how they're forming their identity as artists. Can I just say, like, the lady, let's go back. Like the lady who is acting as she's credited as the madame or the madam of this video. It's funny because it is kind of like cringy the way the acting is, but in terms of just the overall sense of the video, Number I has always done like very campy music videos, and so like it is cringy, but it is intentional in a sense that it has this very slapsticky nature to the way that they're acting, like the woman is acting. And it also plays into kind of like the entire concept of the video, which I would interpret later on. But I don't know, like at first I was like, oof, this is so kind of like funny, but it is meant to be that way because, again, very similar to how they've done their quote-unquote skits in past music videos, like say Bon or like Inazuma or whatever. There's always a sense of exaggeration in terms of the narrative aspects of the music video, or kind of like the story into it. And this one, again, playing into the intro of it being very kind of like retro-ish, and then adding the subtitles, it adds to kind of like just the campy vibe of it, or even kind of like the quote-unquote bad acting that falls into like categories of comedies of an earlier time, which again is very intentional. It's not bad in a sense that, because of the fault of the talent or the actors, but it was and is deliberate in terms of the style of what they're trying to portray. And that is what I'm getting from this video, at least like the story of the lady and her interactions with Number I themselves as the characters that they're playing. Now, when it comes to the contract, I really love it because it's so Number I in a sense, and I would shut up like once we reach the chorus. But in terms of the contract, I really love it because, again, it speaks to what they've always been saying through their songs. It's about, finding your own rhythm, dancing to your own beat, and it can be, again, similar to this video, it can be cringy, it can be silly, it can be fun, but it has to be true to you and what you want to do. And again, just something so, and I don't know, like just my first watch of the video, I was able to take away like a message from it. And again, this can just be my interpretation, which I'll discuss later on, but there's just so much more depth in terms of the concept than just it being, something that to look colorful on screen and for them to serve as a backdrop for the video. So yeah, now let's focus on this chorus because this is just choreography. I absolutely love Chaz the Fire. Thank you again for this really interesting choreo. So good. Okay, let's backtrack a bit and dissect that chorus a little bit. So yeah, here. Oh, that's so good. First, Show's vocals in terms of that. Like, I always love it because this song kind of combines the way that they kind of like really use their singing vocals and then contrast it with like deep basses for the rap and everything like that. But the song in itself, they reference here. They reference Orion, which is a constellation. Now, growing up, my favorite constellation, and I've talked about this on Twitter last night, my favorite constellation is the Orion's belt because it's so easy to spot in the night sky. Like, even if you're not familiar with constellations themselves, it's something very similar to like the North Star, where if you just look up, you will easily notice it because of how distinct it is. Like, stars are always scattered all over, but Orion's belt is so distinguishable, even if you don't know it, simply because these are 3 stars that are lined up perfectly with equal spaces. And there's just something about it that's just so fascinating, especially when looking up and you see that everything else is kind of like spattered all over, but you see these 3 stars, they're really, really bright. And again, they're just spaced out very, very in equal spaces, and they're lined up accordingly, and you just notice them. And even back when, like, I like constellations as a kid, but like even before I knew what Orion's belt was, it was something that I've noticed immediately. And seeing that we have 3 members here, 3 stars of the Orion's belt or the constellation, and how they shine brightly individually as they are, and they always are aligned. It's such a good metaphor for them as a group. And I just really, really absolutely love that particular reference. And they've been doing these references really, really well in terms of their other songs as well. And I know that a lot of fans have also kind of like pointed out the parallelisms in terms of the choreography for their past lead tracks, like with Goat, with Gadai, Inazuma, all these other things. So yeah, there's also that. But focusing again on the chorus, really, really just good. Like, it's not too, I love this part, so catchy. Show's vocals in that one, like the growl in that last star, was just so good to listen to. There are other parts of the song where he does a very similar style in terms of that growly like pull. It's just so good. But again, jumping into the way that, you know, again, star, Orion, constellation. Orion is also like the full constellation in itself is a reference to mythology, with a hunter known for their skills when it comes to strength, and their like exceptional skills and all that. He has a very kind of like complex backstory in terms of love and all that. It's not all good as it is with mythology, like if you're familiar with mythology, but overall, just the reference of it is just, you know, kind of like interesting, the usage of that, like referencing the constellation again, and specifically like Orion's belt, and them always mentioning like stars chasing after it, all those things. That what does it mean? And stars are always kind of like always shining. They're always very present. They're kind of like distant, but you always see them shining, whether or not like the moon is out or whatever. They're there. And even when the moon is still not there and the sun is still up, sometimes you still see stars in the sky already. So it's kind of like interesting the way that they keep playing into the concept of stars in not just this song, but in their past songs as well. The contract in itself, like, it has very interesting messaging. The Nokia is so interesting, as like someone who actually grew up during the era of having those phones. And I don't know, like, I really like how they really give off this kind of like, again, with how music is nowadays, very heavy on, say, EDM type of sounds, or also like autotune, which to me, like, if it is a musical element, and that's just how it is with music, it evolves and all that, it's just a musical element in terms of autotune, for example, and not exactly like the entire song is made to like be shaped into that, but it's kind of like a part. Like they've had songs like this where there is tuning made and it's very, very obvious, but it is part of the texture of the song, and you know that it's deliberate versus the fact that to fix people's vocals, and that's completely fine. But with the Mariah, I noticed that their music is a lot more referential of their influences from when they grew up, which is 90s, early 2000s, that influenced the music that they love themselves, and that's the reason why most of their songs kind of like mimic that while also meshing it into like different genres that make it new or experimental or something fresh in terms of today's audiences. And again, biases aside, I've seen a lot of reactors as well say this is because the music scene nowadays is just so saturated with like similar sounding music, beats and all that, that even like the smallest elements put into their songs is very, very mindful in terms of just putting in even the slightest, like in the backtrack, like if you listen closely beyond just the main melody of it, there are some details there that kind of like enhance the way that you listen to the song, and it's not exactly noticeable at first unless you listen very, very deeply, but it is there. And yeah. The Campy acting is just so amusing. And again, I really, really love the choreography. It's not too, there's just something about their songs that just so kind of like out there. It's very Nambra and all that. Up here, it's a little bit more slow moving. I think like it is complex in a sense that it is more dancey, like a familiar dancey type of choreography as compared to before, where the dances are more within interpreting kind of like the jaggedness or the jarringness of their songs. But this one, since this is more of like an easier beat to dance to, even the choreography is also not really saying that it's easy, but it's kind of like more groovy in a sense. It's less dynamic or heavy, but it's more groovy and chill in terms of the softness of the movements. But then later into the video, there is going to be a part there where it's the signature number I kind of like hard hitting choreography, which again balances out in terms of the style that they've been putting out for like recently. This song is just so catchy. That part in the choreo right there, like they made the star using their fingers so good. Again, let's go back. And again, like it's not like as compared to their other. The thing with Number I is they usually do very, very difficult choreo, but then there's something about their choreos that make it like they always include a part that is easy for people to kind of like follow or mimic, and that makes it kind of like signature to that song. And in this case, like for this one, again, it's not something too just heavy. There are parts here that can be mimicked by anyone, even for non-dancers like myself. But yeah. There, love that. And then this one, oh my gosh, I absolutely love this part. I really wish that they release a dance performance video of this and a dance practice video, because this choreography shouldn't be kind of like confined to just this, you know? Like we've all seen the teasers that they posted, and this choreography right here, especially when they were just doing it solo without all the editing and all that, it's just so good. Oh, I love that. It's so good. Again, I know that it's part of like the vibe of the video, but I wish that they could have focused entirely on that kind of like just dance focused moment. That was the big dance break of the video, and I wish like they should release a dance performance video for this one. I hope that they announce it later in the live, that they're gonna release it say a week later, and then another like dance practice video, because it's a need at this point. The melody of this song is just so good. If you're new here, by the way, my oshi for number I is平野紫耀, and this part right here, like this part right here, like, sir, what is that smirk? We should be warned. Like, what was that? What was? And it's so annoying because red hair should look ridiculously, like, you know how it is. Some people can make it cool. He's an example of that. But for some reason, he just makes it so natural on him that it feels like he was born with it, which is super annoying because we all know that he already looks good in blonde, and then black hair, silver hair, and then now this, and he looks good with long hair, short hair, permed hair. Imagine having that kind of power just visually, and then at the same time match it up with like him actually being a good artist as well. Like, I also love Jin and Kishi, of course, but this part right here, just being a shoten, is just, I just have to say it. So anyways, let's move on. Let's move on. So cute. And then I love that the map again is a very, very good reference in terms of their logo.
We're always ready to be there for you anytime, anywhere in the world. Don't wait another minute. Call us now.
And again, like this kind of like, wait.
15 and
the number reference is, again, if you've grown up during especially in the 90s and early 2000s, like these types of like commercials or infomercials selling you services, or like, I love watching those as a kid, by the way, like people kind of like selling you knives and all these other tools at home. And I was like, when I was a kid, I was thinking, when I'm an adult, I'll go buy that. And it's kind of like an outdated thing now with online shopping, but before you have to like call and place your orders and it's going to be delivered to you. And I really like this, like the way that, you can call them and they would deliver that kind of like service and all that.
1234, and let us take care of everything for you.
I really love it. And to the Madame Michelle who participated in this video, who added to the Campy's element of it. I mean, initially it was kind of like, okay, cool, it's funny and all that, but eventually it grows on you. So there. Now that's it for the video. Now let me just talk about my interpretation of it very, very quickly. I know that I've shared some thoughts about just the entirety of it already in a video, but in terms of like the concept of it, so they're a housekeeping service, but when they enter the house, it was kind of like they forced themselves in there, and they didn't really like do anything. They messed up the house even more, but they left the lady or the madam happier than who she is, kind of like just letting go of all these kind of like rules. And to me, and I posted about this on Twitter last night, my interpretation of it is that, you know how it is where, like when you listen to artists or groups or whatever, they're kind of like with this number I, they kind of like are saying, or at least the way that I interpret it is, they're not there to clean after our messes. They're not there to clean up our lives and to just fix everything and all that. But it is kind of like a journey, like discover all your messes, see what it is, like things for what it is, live your life. And it's not exactly like the physical or the visual chaos that you experience, but with the contract that they've been kind of like showing to the client, they're saying that, you know, all these things, it doesn't matter as much if you know who you are and what you want and you just go after it, and you kind of like, it's fine to mess up a little bit and be silly or not be as organized as you think you are and all that. It's fine. There's a journey to that, and you just have to jump into it and be willing to kind of like embrace it. And that's kind of like how it is with this video is, you know, they really didn't do anything. They're pretty bad at their job in terms of housekeepers if you take into the context of the narrative, but they ended up with a lady kind of like being really happy with the surveys, because again, they kind of like explained that that's not what we're here for. We're not here to fix all those things that you need, that you think needs fixing. You have to fix that yourself, but we start with you, like you as a person. Like, we're taking you along with all these kind of like campiness, silliness, and all that. And they also gave her kind of like a choice. Like, they're asking her, do you want this outfit or this or that, or just go for this or whatever. And she ended up being happy in terms of that, and the way that they barge into it as well. Like, with their music, they are seemingly kind of just barging into people with all these different genres that they're putting out there, and it's either you take it or you leave it, but it would leave you with something. And I think that's my interpretation of this song, is, you know, it's just very, very interesting the way that they always kind of like shape this. One thing that I've thought of for this one is, I feel like this is kind of like a last minute, and I might be wrong, but it just feels like kind of like a last minute thing where we want to make a music video for this song because it's something like all three of them produced this, and also wrote parts of the lyrics based off of the credits. And so what's interesting is I feel like they really love this song. It's kind of like a last minute. I'm not sure if they planned it out, but there's just something about it that is less detailed in terms of how they planned out their other music videos. It might just be kind of like a stylistic choice or a creative choice from their end, but it's just very, very interesting that it is definitely a lot simpler as compared to their other kind of like songs. But again, it still plays into the element of there is a story in there. It's kind of like a mini movie almost every single time. And they really play into kind of like that retro element, which again is probably referential to the music that they love, and that influence a lot of what they're putting into the table in terms of producing these things. But yeah, so with that said, what are your thoughts? I mean, to me, Numbers Your Zone is probably, and I hate to say this because I love their lead tracks, and Goat and Bon has always been kind of like my top lead tracks from Number I so far. But I feel like this one with their digital single so far has been the easiest to listen to. So easy to kind of like put it on repeat, at least for lead tracks, aside from Blow Your Cover, of course. But it's just so easy to listen to and to fall into it. And it might be my new favorite, not ultimately, but my new favorite so far from all their lead track releases. Music video, probably not so much, but just the track itself is probably one of the top ones on my list right now. So yeah, but I'm really looking forward to the entire album. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts about this particular song, of music video, all these other things. Let's talk it out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon in a new video. Bye!